And this year so happens that there's a Sunday in between. Last year there wasn't a Sunday in between Christmas and our burning bowl. This year there is, and I thought, what a better way to prepare us for these two ceremonies that are unity things, but they're such a spiritual part of our journey. Like said in the announcements, the 31st is Burning Bowl. It's our time to release. On the 5th of January, it is our White Stone. It's a time for us to find a name, a word, a phrase that will drive our spiritual direction for 2025. So we're going to touch on why we should prepare for these services in advance and how do we do it. So do you remember when you were growing up as a kid and you got to the point where you were outgrowing your clothes? And so you would get new clothes or new clothes to you because the old ones didn't serve our purpose any longer, right? And then as adults, we get new clothes, yet for some strange reason, a lot of us still keep the old clothes. I'll fit back into them someday. They were comfy. They were my favorite pair. I don't know why we do that. They no longer serve us. They take up space. Don't hoard the non-tangible things that you might carry into 2025. One of the things that came to mind that people really like to hold on to a lot is resentment. Like you're like, ooh, that's my resentment. I want to, mine. Fear. Thoughts of lack. Thoughts of I can't. And these things that we carry with us bring that shoulda, woulda, coulda along with us as we journey on that road forward, and it's baggage. It's baggage that we don't need to pay that extra weight into the next year if we're flying into it. We don't need to bring it with us. And if you keep it, you don't have enough room for what will serve you. It's like taking a trip and you want souvenirs, but you brought all this stuff because, I might go to a fancy dinner and want to wear this, and you never went, so your fancy dress is taking up your souvenir stuff. It is spiritual work to prepare us for what we want to let go of, what we want to bring in with us. Jesus, by example, prepared for spiritual work. A lot of times he went off by himself to do that. You, for your own spiritual transformation and life transformation, will want this to be effective. You're going to want this to have the energy that you want in it to move what you're doing next year into a greater impact. It's the prep work that makes for a better product. This is our check engine light, if you will. So we can jump to conclusions. We can think, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to get a whole new transmission. But if we take the time to examine it, it could be something that we're worrying that's big, that it may reveal that it's an easier release than we think. It may be as simple as your your engine light coming on and going, oh my God, do I have the money for this? Then you take it to the AutoZone, they plug in the little thingy that tells you what's wrong with your car, and they go, is your gas cap tightened? And you're like, oh. So some of these things that we may bring with us, it may be big things, but it also may be something we've made into a big thing that really is not quite as big. When we take that time to open up, we can take physical actions to create the synergy that brings forth our keen awareness. So when you're letting go of what doesn't serve you, then you're allowed to have that awareness of, this is what God is nudging me to do. And when I got to thinking about this, I was reminded of a video that I saw, and It's not until now that I'm understanding some science things that were presented in words, and this is how it works, and formulas and stuff like that. My brain doesn't compute like that. My brain speaks in images. So I'll describe the image. It was a ball tied to a string. Sitting very adjacent to it was a tuning fork. And then next to it was a person that was getting ready to bring the tuning fork. The energy was going to resonate to the next tuning fork. The ball was supposed to do this. So if we don't take the time to open up, we may be carrying around a megahertz of 526, and this might be a 410 megahertz. And if we're not in that alignment and that awareness, when you ring this one, the 410's just going to go, and the ball's just going to sit. But when you have your 410 megahertz and you ring it, and this 410 megahertz hears it, that sound wave goes all the way through that second pitchfork. Not a pitchfork. Tuning fork. Spent too much time with my dad and the chickens this weekend. Tuning fork, then the ball bounces. So it gives us this extra spiritual work that we do, gives us that time to go, okay, this 526 isn't serving me anymore. I need to pick up this 410 because what's waiting for me is a 410 that I can send forth that spirit energy to make movement, to make action, to do what is mine to do. So when we have our mind and our body and our spirit, these are spiritual things for our human experience. It's important that we connect that energy. So if you will open up your bulletin, inside you will find a worksheet. For those of you who are watching online, I didn't forget about you. I actually prepped in advance. So for your copy, when you go to the website and scroll down to where you would pull up the live stream, there's a button that says Prepare the Way Insert. And if you click on that, a PDF will pull up for you. So some of the things that we can do to prepare for that release is to go inward and journal a little bit with questions like, what's creating a distraction from you being fully present? How does this hold power over you? How often does it happen? Do you have any control over it? If you do, what feelings hold you back? Perhaps it's something that can be released. Not the feeling, but the control that the feeling has over you. God might be calling you to something big, but you might be scared, and scared is making you stop. So maybe you can release the control the fear has and lead into your curiosity. Is there resistance to letting go? Like that resentment you don't want to let go of. What are some kind things that I can do to help myself feel empowered about this release? Because sometimes if you're holding on to a lot of fear, sometimes just giving that call to your bestie, saying, I don't think I could do this, and then your bestie has your back, is going, girl, you got this, you can do it. Or dude, you got this, you can do it. And do I have more than one thing to release? I've seen some people want to bring like their entire journal of their brain dump for the year. Bring a sheet or two. Don't bring your whole journals on Tuesday. But you could probably compact that whole big journal into a few words, because I would imagine that there's probably a theme there. When we're getting ready for Whitestone, we're getting ready for our new name, practice that gratitude each day. Gratitude opens you up. It is, some would say it's magical, but it really is just amazing what gratitude can do for you. Move your body. In order for you to receive energy, you've got to be able to release what energy is in your body, because even though it's a fear that you can't see, we carry it in our bodies. We carry resentment in our tight muscles, in our stomach that turns, all of those things. Move your body so that you can get that energy out and flowing, because that will open you up. Spend time in the silence. Set aside just 5 minutes and just be. If your brain thinks about in those 5 minutes, oh my gosh, I got to do the dishes. Did I do this? Allow those thoughts to pass on, because that is allowing your brain to let it go. Find some time for creative expression. Find a creative activity that relaxes you. And do that a few times during the week. And remember that it does not have to be related to art. Because some people find it relaxing to design a building, or relaxing to put in 5 million formulas in a spreadsheet, and when all the numbers match at the end and it balances, you're like, yeah. And so if that's creative for you, then do that. If it's creative for you to paint something, paint something. It's creative for you to sing, whether you can sing or can't sing. Hop yourself in that shower, because the acoustics are good and they make you sound good whether you do or don't. And sing at the top of your lungs to your favorite songs. Because that song energy also is moving energy waves that opens you up. And so all of that opening up will allow you to be able to settle in when we do meditate on the 5th, to receive that name, that word, that mantra that will be your focus for 2025. In Philippians 4:13, it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. All the things. Because our Christ Center is part of us. It's who we are. We just refreshed ourselves in this Christ awareness during Christmas. This awakening reminder of this birth of the newness that's within us, this power that's within us. Let's keep that alignment moving forward in this prep work to get us into 2025. Today, when we sing at the very end, we're going to sing a song called Prepare Ye the Way. So I invite you, not in the Lenten sense of prepare the way, but in your Christ-centered sense of prepare the way. Let that mantra inspire you to prepare your way for deeper spiritual living. Your homework is to do this. And when we do our offering today, we're going to hear the Happy Christmas song. And so I invite you to listen to the words of it and not listen from a standpoint of guilt. I used to would hear it and think, oh God, I didn't do enough. I failed. I didn't do enough. I didn't do enough. But look at it to look at the things that you did do, to celebrate the small things that you did, the phone call that you made when you were thinking about somebody and you were like, oh, and then they pick up the phone and I'm so glad you called. It's been rough. Those little things in our life that we dismiss as not a big deal, to somebody else, it has no price tag. So when you hear this song, when we do our offering, send to yourself and to that goodness that I spoke of last week, that we do the work of Christ in 2025. So it is, and so we let it be. Shine on, y'all.